Looks like General Langley has decided to backtrack his statements about Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso after he faced backlash from all of Africa and really the entire world. Some of you all might remember a few weeks back, Michael Langley, the general in charge of AFRICOM, the Uncle Tom, speaking on behalf of Uncle Sam, accused Ibrahim Traore of using the funds that they gained from gold to fund his own private security instead of protecting his own people.
You know, I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traore and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
And once he did that, he accidentally made Ibrahim Traore possibly the most famous leader on the entire planet. Dude became a rock star instantly because people started looking into all the advancements that had been made in Burkina Faso since he took over. Well, it looks like Langley took issue with the backlash that he received after making those statements about Traore and decided to backtrack a little bit in a recent interview. Well, kind of. Now, in this interview, he actually seemingly goes out of his way to not mention Ibrahim directly, but instead says that Burkina Faso has autonomy, that they have the ability to make their own decisions and guide their resources in the way that they see fit. But you know, if he would have stopped there, we wouldn't be doing this video right now. Once again, without mentioning Ibrahim and their efforts directly, he goes on to say that Burkina Faso has become the epicenter of all terrorism around the world, and that Burkina Faso's military is not doing enough to prevent this. At least that's from his expert military opinion. I mean, this dude literally goes on to list every single organization, every terrorist organization that he could possibly think of, and say that they're all operating out of Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso's sovereignty. They maintain their sovereignty. They make the decisions how they use their resources. That's their sovereign right. Burkina Faso, a lot of great things going on to progress them forward, okay? But then when you look at the military part of it, knowing that that's the epicenter of global terrorism, it was my time to illuminate that this is probably their weakest point, and there needs to be sufficient resources going towards for the whole fight of terrorism in that country, period. They make their decisions, though. That's their sovereignty, their sovereign right to make their decisions, what is appropriate, what's not. But I wanted to illuminate that it's going in the wrong direction now. ISIS is getting stronger. JNIM is getting stronger. Al-Qaeda in the lands of the Maghreb is getting stronger.
How interesting is it, ladies and gentlemen, that once Ibrahim Traore successfully kicks out the French military, helps take back the government of Burkina Faso, then advances their economy in a way that no one thought was possible while forming alliances across West Africa, all of a sudden, Burkina Faso, a country the majority of the world probably never even heard of before, became the epicenter of all terrorism worldwide. And I find it equally funny and coincidental that Langley names groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, which the entire world knows by now are funded and were created by the United States and always seem to end up in the exact locations where they need someone's government to be overthrown. That shit's crazy. It's almost like Traore was right when he said the terrorism that we are witnessing today in Burkina Faso comes from imperialism. It is an attempt to manufacture consent in order to get the world to support the United States re-entering Burkina Faso. And then somehow, like with Bashar al-Assad, like with Muammar Gaddafi, like with Lumumba, and countless other situations, somehow all this terrorism will be linked to Ibrahim Traore, despite him being the principal actor trying to fight the terrorism that didn't arrive really until he got there. Now, another thing I find interesting about the comments made by Langley is that he's talking about what Burkina Faso isn't doing to prevent this terrorism. However, he didn't mention what Ukraine is doing to contribute to this terrorism, because Ukraine sent troops and weapons to the terrorists in that region, trying to overthrow the governments of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, and did so rather braggadociously. Because last I checked, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it the United States that basically pays for and makes all of the weapons for Ukraine since they started the war with Russia? Oh, excuse me, the United States and just about every other major NATO power. The very actors Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger just got done kicking out of their country. Could it be, just maybe, that if he brought that fact up, then people would then realize, well, the only way Ukraine got those weapons is because of the United States and NATO. And that would mean that they're using those weapons from the United States to arm the terrorists that Langley is claiming Ibrahim Traore isn't doing enough to get rid of. So maybe if Langley is truly taking this terrorist threat so seriously, he should focus more on what the United States and Western imperialists are doing to contribute to this terrorist problem, and less on what Ibrahim Traore supposedly isn't doing enough of.